Welcome to TradeSpoon and Yellowtown. My name is Lak Rappel. I'm CEO and founder of both companies. And today we're going to have our weekly discussion of current market conditions. Benny, thank you. We're going to talk about NVDA, high beta stocks, low beta stocks, talk about interest rate macroeconomic condition and what to expect short term as we approach in elections and longer term. And what do I see the opportunities in the market right now? For those of you who are new, welcome. If this is your first live event, do me a favor, type in first. Always want to welcome new subscribers. This is my brief bio. I think the difference between Yellowtown and some of the other services is that Yellowtown specializes in technology, building models. We have a team of financial engineers that are building models using latest advances in artificial intelligence. And I trade these signals in a live trading room. We have 2 sessions, morning and closing bell session. Been doing that for over 20 years. Disclosures are very important. Please read them. I'm going to go through specific trade ideas. Trading stock and options involves risk and not suitable for everyone. You must be aware of the risk and be willing to accept it in order to invest in current market conditions. I encourage you to visit the link on your screen, optionstrading.com, so you can understand the risk associated with trading stock or options. And again, you can pause the screen to read the remaining of the disclosures. But before we jump into trading psychology, let's talk about current market conditions. So looking at the aggressive power trader for the spiders, we still see a strong uptrend. We still see an uptrend in the market, even though the magnitude and the force behind the bulls, right, momentum behind the bulls is deteriorating. Right now we're trading somewhere between 560 and 567. So let's look at the spiders. So you can see spiders overhead resistance kind of double top, right? We're at all-time high. We have a V-shaped recovery, staying above 50-day moving average. And despite NVDA earnings, we're still at all-time high. So if you look at the value stocks, if you remove your high beta stocks, your NVIDIAs, Microsofts of the world, you can see that value stocks continue to break out, right? Confirm breakout, triple top, and continues to trade higher. So whether it's consumer staples, healthcare, utilities, banks, they're all leading the market. And if you look at semiconductors, right, who used to be the leader, they're still lagging the market below the 50-day moving average. And this week we had NVIDIA earnings, continues to underperform. It's staying right at maybe slightly below 50-day moving average. So that's been the trend. QQQ looks very similar to NVIDIA chart, right? Maybe slightly higher, but still significantly underperforming the value stocks. You can look at Dow Jones. That's probably a more popular symbol. You do have a breakout in your Dow Jones names. So what does that mean? It means that you know, people are cautious, right? They're rotating into your dividend stocks, and they are do not want to take the high risk, right? You can see usually crude oil, not crude oil, but Bitcoin is a good proxy for risk taking. And Bitcoin right now is sitting right at the 200-day moving average. It spent majority of August and maybe even some of the July below 50-day moving average, right? So the risk on trade is kind of on hold. 10-year, you see that 2-year yield is almost the same level as 10-year yield and less than 30-year yield. That means yield yield curve is normalizing, which is positive news for the bulls. You can see that the dollar is weak, bouncing back. You can see 10-year yield is weak, but bouncing back from 3.8. I think that's also positive, right? Downward sloping movement of yield, and US dollar is positive for the market, as long as it's not done in very, you know, rapid fashion. So macroeconomic drop looks positive, right? So now that earnings is behind us, and there are, you know, probably no positive surprises now that the NVIDIA earnings is behind us, it is all about macroeconomic data, right? So we had Jackson Hole meeting. Powell said, yes, we're going to lower interest rates in September. Now debate is how aggressive Fed is going to be in lowering interest rates between now and end of the year. Some people think it's 25 basis points in September. Some people think it's 50 basis points. But a lot of it depends on unemployment data, right, and CPI data. So we do have unemployment data on Friday. Last one was a positive surprise, then there were revisions. So expectations is that the rate is going to, drop, or at least stay at 4.3. So if we have a positive surprise to the upside, if there is a surprise to the upside where the rate all of a sudden jumps to 4.5, 4.6, well, then people will say it might not be just one data point. Maybe it's a trend, right? That the economy is cooling and the employment market is cooling off. So everybody's watching this date. That's going to be very important. Then we have options expiration and monthly expiration in September, right? Third Friday of September, we're going to have 3 weeks from now, we're going to have OPEX, which is also creates this opportunity that if there's any negative news, market, there are definitely going to be issues with liquidity and the market can't sell off, right? So next Friday, I would pay attention to next Friday data, and then the following Wednesday, obviously CPI, PPI data. It's trending down. So as long as it's within the expectation, trading a little bit lower, a little bit higher, I think that's not going to be a major news for the market. What else is interesting that I'm watching is high yield, right? Your bonds, right? So people are investing into high grade corporate bonds, LQDs in strong uptrend. Even low grade, right? Your junk bonds are also in strong bond. It's not a V-shape, V-shaped recovery and breakout, right? So people are very optimistic. Basically, the spread between treasuries and junk bonds is narrowing. So that's positive news for the market. VIX is back to 15 level. That's positive. We have a breakout in value stocks. Small caps are close to multi-year highs. So that's positive news for the market. You can see the number of stocks trading above 50-day moving average is significantly, maybe it didn't break out, but close to July highs. So you do have a strong uptrend. Any questions? Benny, Denis, Lalit, Louis, Mark, Peter, Robert, Vito. Any questions? All right, so then the question becomes, well, okay, so where's Spider going, right? I mean, there's just, I would say 3 scenarios, right? We're at triple top. I mean, NVDA did not cause the breakout. We're kind of consolidating, right, in this box for a couple of weeks. So one scenario may be unemployment data, right? If unemployment data ticks down, right, and the fear of recession or hard landing subsides, well, you have scenario number 1, right? Because people are going to feel optimistic. The chance of Middle East escalation has decreased significantly. Election surprise for now is kind of not influencing the market. So you have scenario 1. It's just a pattern of higher highs, higher lows. You can definitely see even with a 10% pullback, bulls stepped in and continued to push the market higher. So that's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, this was a low volume trading, right? Low volume trading during summer. It is prone for these large movements in the market. Now that everybody is sending their kids to school and come back from their long vacations, something happens during September option expiration, maybe some bad news, maybe unemployment data, maybe CPI surprise, maybe some regional banks are going to go under because of the exposure to residential or corporate real estate. And then we have scenario number 2, where we're trading basically in a range, right? Maybe revisiting the lows, right? Maybe revisiting the lows, but not breaking the lows, not breaking the 50-day moving average. So that's scenario number 2, right? Scenario number 3, maybe CPI data jumps significantly high, maybe inflation comes back, and unemployment rate ticks up, right? And then the narrative changes to hard landing, right? Sometime in September, maybe beginning of October, we have a narrative change where it's a hard landing. So then you have scenario number 3. So I think those are the 3 scenarios that the traders and investors should think about it going into the elections in November. From seasonality point of view, usually September, October is a window for this, any negative surprise, and you could have dislocations, right? I'm not obviously Lehman moment back in 2008 was, you know, a one-of-a-kind event, but still, from seasonality point of view, from statistics point of view, September, October usually is a window where you could have sharp pullbacks and volatility. So how many of you say scenario number one, we're heading higher? Scenario number two, no, we're just stuck in the range between these 520, 530 level and 560. You can see definitely there's a lot of positioning at 540, at least in September. So September contracts, I don't think before September we will break through the 540 level, right? But after third Friday, after the third Friday of September, that's the window where we could get to 563 or, you know, drop to 520, 510, because from the October position, you don't have a lot of positioning. All right, so Benny, Denis, Lalit, Louis, Mark, Peter, Robert, Vito, sorry if I mispronounced the name. How many of you say we're blood, you know, it's a pattern of higher highs, higher lows? That's one. Scenario number two, we're just stuck in this range. We're gonna break through the 50-day moving average. You know, semiconductors are lagging. You know, Microsoft is near 200-day moving average. Tesla near 200-day moving average. You have Apple started to underperform. So two. Anyone? What do you guys think? Luis, one. Okay, one. Higher highs, higher lows. Thank you. Anyone else? Lalit, Denis, Mark, Peter, Jeff, Fred, Vito. Anyone else? All right, let's do one, Benny, one. All right, so a lot of ones. Okay, so I'm gonna go with two. I think at least going into the elections from seasonality point of view, from the point of view that, you know, if you look at Meta, right? Meta started to roll over at 200-day moving average. You have NVDA, right? The idea is that where NVIDIA is gonna go is where the market is gonna go, right? It used to be Magnificent Seven. Now, you know, Microsoft is 200-day moving average. You have Google, close to 200-day moving average. Bitcoin is underperforming. So those are all the signs that it's a risk-off trade, and the value stocks are getting to, you know, very to overbought. If this was oversold conditions, reaching 200-day moving average, then this is overbought. So for that reason, I'm putting two. So how do we help? At Yellow Tunnel, we have different services, right? So we have aggressive power trader. This is our model, daily model. You can look at the history of this model, and basically every day you can see what were the bullish signals. And some of them, there was a question, why don't I see them in my SMS messages? I don't trade all of these signals, right? I traded Costco, but I didn't trade the rest of the signals. So these are just the signals. Some of them, if I trade, you would see in orders and position stuff. Maybe like I try to do one example a week where I would trade these positions. And you can watch the recordings, how I trade them. There's a live trading room every day. You can watch that. I encourage you to watch live trading room. And you can look at the current portfolio. So that's aggressive power trader. Weekly power trader, similar model, but the signals tend to be longer, right? This is only updated once a week. Aggressive power trader, you get signals every day. This is only once a week. For this week, again, you can see utilities, maybe some credit cards, you know, maybe some investment banking, right? Investment banking like BK, strong uptrend, Goldman Sachs breaking out. So these are all very strong stocks, and you can see them in weekly power trader. And also you can see orders and positions, but I try to do only maybe one example a week. In dynamic power trader, if you look at the dynamic power trader, this is where I trade on daily basis. So this is my portfolio, and you would see trades a few times a week, right? Where I would trade orders, positions, and you can always look at the orders, you can look at the positions and see all of my trades. We have earnings power trader. So this week I traded NVDA, right? Sometimes I sell premium. So in this example, I sold call spreads and put spreads, right? Iron condor, because I didn't think we're going to have an outsized move, and was able to collect the premium, right? So this is an example where I was able to collect 50 cents, close to 0.5% of the underlying price, right, and holding position overnight. So these are examples, and I also traded Marvel. But these are examples of earnings power trader, and same thing. You can watch the recordings, you can look at the history of these signals, and you can click on AI analysis if you want to analyze NVDA or Microsoft or NVIDIA, so it will show you the trends and support and resistance levels. So that's earnings power trader. If you don't trade options, there are a lot of people that say, well, I don't like options, it's complicated, I have to think about time, duration, trends. Then profit accelerator, right? Profit accelerator, you can see all of my position. I traded OKE this week, I traded LA Lilly, silver. So these are all the positions and orders. That same thing, you can click on SMS setting, click on this link, enter your phone number, click submit, and then for each services you want to get SMS messages, and that's how you would participate in these trades. Any questions on services? In terms of dashboard, you can definitely see we have getting started guide, we have weekly webinars, and we have weekly blog. So I send a blog every Sunday, and then I send video blog every Wednesday. So twice a week, I basically give an update on my view on the market, opportunities, and trade ideas. So I encourage you to add info@yellowtunnel.com to your list of contacts, whoever for your email provider, Yahoo or Gmail or AOL. To make sure that you get our emails. Any questions? What about elections effect? So elections effect, usually going into elections, you do have a pullback, and based, red versus blue, you might have an effect maybe a couple months later. But after that, it's still there's not a lot of effect on elections. Elections have effect on overall market. On specific sector, like General Dynamics, right? Your aerospace defense stocks like LMT, it does have a strong effect, right? If there is a red wave, then they go higher. If there's a blue wave, you might go lower. Some of the healthcare stocks, right, could also be affected, right, by elections. So far, they're going higher. Healthcare stocks, your energy names, right, drilling, fracking, green energy, right, those are stocks are also could be affected by the elections. But overall, the market, it does create volatility. Like before, I remember when Trump got elected, the market was overnight dropped 10%, but then it recovered, the next 2 days. So you could have these dislocations of volatility around the earnings, right? But usually they fade as time goes on, because people realize that it doesn't matter blue wave or red wave, the economy is going to do what economy is going to do, and it does okay during blue or red. Longer term, right? Short term, definitely dislocation, definitely volatility is something you need to keep an eye on. But I would not try to time the elections or the effect it has on your stock. Any other questions? At least I don't do it. Any other questions? So let's look at this week and see what are the opportunities in the market, right? Other ones. So let's look at the watch list. So materials, right, breaking out, right? So again, your low beta stocks are doing well. Home builders breaking out at all-time highs. Metals and miners above 50, not at all-time high, but rebounding. China is still weak. China is underperforming. Industrials are leading the market. Yeah, so your Caterpillars or your, my favorite, what is it, General Electric? Because General Electric. Yeah, so they are breaking out to the upside. very important to keep an eye on Nikkei and the yen, right? So we had this 10% pullback because Japanese yen rallied significantly. It's consolidating for 4 weeks, but there could be another leg up, right? There could be another leg up, and I think if we do break through the 65 level, I'm watching the 65 level, that can definitely cause dislocation, right? Because there's just a lot of exposure to Japanese yen, right? That some of the hedge funds or some of the regional banks or smaller banks could also go under if the Bank of Japan comes back and says, listen, we're going to start raising rates, right? They haven't done this for decades. So that is still a risk in the market. So I would keep an eye on this line when it comes to these macroeconomic and currency headwinds. Financial REITs, right? Fed is lowering interest rates. One of the main beneficiaries are REITs. They are at 2023 high, right? So it's a multi-year highs for the REITs. Biotech doing okay, right? Also continues to go high, also at multi-year highs. It hasn't been at this level since 2022. So biotech is doing well. Consumer discretionary, also close to 2022 highs. Retail sector, we had a lot of retail stocks kind of struggling to break through this overhead resistance, but nonetheless, it's at January of 22 highs. Transportation started to recover, strong recovery in transportation. Insurance leading the market, right? Kind of just in one line straight to the up. Insurance companies doing well on the, obviously very high insurance premiums. Technology underperforming, right? It's still not close to all-time highs. Semiconductors are underperforming. XLK is underperforming. Dow Jones is breaking out to all-time highs. Consumer staples are breaking out to all-time highs. Banks are breaking out to all-time highs. Regional banks are doing a catch-up trade. Utilities are definitely close to all-time highs. And you do have participation now in small caps. So the broadening of the rally, the only concern is, can the market continue to go higher, right? Can the market continue to go higher without Bitcoin and with Microsoft, these trillion-dollar companies at 200-day moving average? A lot of technicians says no. You can't, either Microsoft is going to start rallying, right? But we're not going to know this until the next earnings, right? Next Microsoft earnings cycle starts end of October, right? So that's why, from seasonality point of view, usually end of October, November, this is after elections, market starts rallying. But going into elections, you could have these poor performance of Microsoft, Teslas of the world, right? These trillion-dollar companies, it's going to be hard for the market to continue grinding higher. So, and without NVDA, obviously. So that's my view on the market. Any questions in terms of sectors, in terms of where to invest? So right now I would be market neutral, right? My portfolio is market neutral. I have some bullish positions, and then I have some hedges because I think market is going to trade sideways. Merit put, cover calls, iron condors, those are the good ways to kind of mitigate some of the risk to the downside. If you're not comfortable trading, options, gold is breaking out, right? So people are still concerned about recession and inflation. So gold is making all-time highs. Definitely, some of the bonds, TLT, LQD, also are in a strong performance. What else? I mean, some of the, people are definitely rotating into low beta stocks that pays dividend, like healthcare, utilities. So those are the most popular trades right now, and I think that trend probably has, a few more months to go. Any other questions? All right, if there are no other questions, please support us on YouTube and Twitter, x.com. You can search for the word yellow tunnel or candle tunnel _yellow. You always we post videos, we post blog. Um, we have YouTube channel where we post videos as well. So please support us. Hit the follow button. That would be very beneficial. Um, Other than that, happy, it's a long weekend. Enjoy your time with friends and family. Monday is a Labor Day, so we're off, but Tuesday we're going to resume our regular broadcasts in live trading room. That's all I have for today. Thank you very much and have a great day. Denis, Lalit, Louis, Peter, Robert, Viro, thank you very much and enjoy your long weekend. Thank you.